From dawn to dusk, under the burning sun, you can find a group of clandestine gold miners digging just a few meters below the surface in search of gold flakes. Most of them are from neighboring Burkina Faso, which is plagued by political instability and desertification. This is the case of Bawantal, a 25-year-old farmer who arrived 4 months ago, attracted by the gold fever.
As there is often no rain, there is not enough water at home. So I decided to come and work in gold because it is in the gold that we can get ahead more quickly.
Like Bawantal, these young men, some still minors, have left everything in search of a better future. Far from their families, their daily lives are rough, but nobody complains because they know that gold can pay big, between 20 and 30,000 CFA per gram. A driving factor in the gold rush surge is money, and that has driven many young men to abandon agriculture, which accounts for 40% of the country's workforce. A clandestine gold miner can earn up to 300,000 CFA, 5 times the Ivorian minimum wage, compared to an agricultural worker who earns that same amount in 1 year.
I used to work in my parents' fields. We planted eggplants there, but it did not bring me any money. Gold is worth a lot more than eggplants. Since the gold came, we young people have earned more money, and some were able to build small stores. It is much better than field work.
Between 1 and 1.5 million people increasingly work in clandestine gold mining in Ivory Coast. A surge in the price of gold on the world markets in the past 10 years has attracted men and women from all over West Africa to this trade. Obvious signs of the increased activity over the decade can be seen from central to northern Ivory Coast in the form of disfigured rural landscapes, often in the heart of old plantations. A classic case is this plot of land, which just a few years ago was a natural rubber plantation, but now stands as just a lunar landscape dotted with craters. The owner agreed to meet with us. Gaston Kukaminan is a rubber planter, like his father and grandfather before him. In 2017, he decided to try clandestine gold panning.
Here, there was a corner of rubber trees, 10 hectares. Now part of it is a gold mine. My rubber plantations get destroyed every year because of bushfires. I decided to search for gold instead.
While part of his plot remains devoted to the cultivation of rubber trees, the other part, the largest, is now an open pit which he has rented out to gold diggers to work on every day.
How are you? And how is work?
Every week, Kukaminan collects around $15 from each group who uses his plot of land. He is not the only landowner in the region to have recognized a good opportunity.
Gold makes more money than farming. You earn fast. You can take on projects faster. The rubber tree takes 7 to 8 years to bleed, from December to March. We must stop because trees do not bleed anymore.
Like many illegal gold smallholders, Gaston Kukaminan is aware of the risk he runs by breaking the law. But he agreed to talk with us because he hopes to come out of hiding soon and mine gold legally.
I'm going to do the paperwork for the gold mine because I see it's important to do so. If I manage to get the papers, at least I won't be afraid. There won't be squadrons coming to dislodge me, nor the Ministry of Water and Forests.
How many gold mines are now illegally exploited? That is impossible to know, but experts' estimates range between 1,000 and a few thousand. While it allows the rapid enrichment of some, gold mining does not benefit everyone equally, and regularly creates tensions in the villages between elders and younger people, and between local populations and foreigners who have come to work in the mines.
On a vu de très fortes migrations.
We have seen big migrations of gold extractors from neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, Mali and Guinea, transform the demographic structure of several neighborhoods. The risk of social tensions is constant. In some localities, the chiefdoms manage to govern it more equitably, and there is a fair redistribution between the groups of society. Unfortunately, the whole thing takes place in hiding.
To curb this phenomenon, which has taken on national proportions, the state has now implemented a way to discourage clandestine gold prospectors through the creation of a special brigade in 2021 that multiplies the high-profile raids on clandestine sites. However, is this enough to meet the challenges posed by this illicit activity? For sociologist Rodrigue Kone, the answer is no.
It is, unfortunately, one of the Achilles heels of this developing gold sector. It could have been a source of income for the fight against poverty if it had been supervised. At the local level, the populations do not have the technical expertise to preserve the environment, the fauna and the flora. They also do not have the capabilities to manage revenue to create added value in local development, like farming. The state could have developed a strategy to use gold panning as a source of income for the population.
Despite issuing a new mining code in 2014, the Ivorian state has not been able to control the phenomenon of illegal gold mining. While the decree authorizes artisanal gold mining, obtaining authorizations is long and complicated, discouraging many small gold miners who prefer to remain in hiding. Despite the difficulties, some have decided to take the plunge and become legal. In Yule, a town 5 hours from Abidjan, Lassina Sako goes to his gold mine to oversee operations. Sako is the co-owner of this semi-industrial mine where miners dig the ground to bring up the rubble in which the precious metal is found. Sako was only 20 years old when he became a gold miner. Long a clandestine operator, he decided to legalize his mine in 2015 when the Ivorian state issued the new mining code, a choice he does not regret.
Today, gold is good business, especially since the government has made many efforts to regularize the sector. It allows me today to be an entrepreneur. It allows me to work freely. It allows me not to worry about bandits. Now that my mining business is legal, I can speak in front of a camera. At the time, I could not do it. I needed to remain in the shadows for fear of being attacked by mine bandits.
In exchange for a renewable 4-year operating permit, Sako must meet several obligations, including compliance with environmental standards. It is required to restore the environment as he found it after the gold mining is over, a measure taken by the government to fight against deforestation, even though over the last 50 years, Ivory Coast has lost 90% of its forests. At stake is the loss of agriculture, especially cocoa, of which the country is the world's leading producer. The measure is to prevent mining from further weakening a breathless ecosystem.
Load 2 bags of rock this way.
For Sako, getting his mining business started required a lot of resources, both in investment in machinery and payment for the operating permit from the state. For small semi-industrial players like Sako, lack of funding presents one of the main obstacles to the massive regularization of gold miners in the sector.
I think young entrepreneurs are in much trouble, especially regarding finances. Because today, you can have a work permit and have nothing in terms of equipment and finance to move on to exploitation. So it is not easy. When we talk about finances, for example, the price of a rental machine per day, it's already a considerable difficulty if you don't have financial support to take the rental.
To make his voice heard by the state, Sako joined the National Syndicate of the Group of Small Mining Operators and Buyers of Ivory Coast, a union whose president frequently visits its members. Zachary Bamba created the union in 2020, the first in the sector, bringing together 340 artisanal and semi-industrial mining operators, all legal. For the trade unionist, also a mining operator, creating a corporation to defend their interests and help develop the sector was essential.
We have a mining code that is only 6 years old. It is good, but there are imperfections on both sides. This organization is there to determine these imperfections and how to improve them administratively. The challenges are enormous in artisanal and semi-industrial gold mining in Ivory Coast today. The improvement of the regulatory framework for exploitation and the challenges of support, assistance and supervision of the various operators.
According to Bamba, to fight against clandestine gold mining, the state must delegate the management of artisanal gold mining sites in the form of local regulation. Bamba believes the state has every interest in changing its tune in favor of large-scale legalization.
There are many other solutions, such as facilitating the acquisition of operating areas. Also, the organization at the rural level in cooperatives to make farms would be a perfect administrative solution.
The Ivorian gold sector is still struggling to respond to these many challenges. Communities under tension, a very fragile ecosystem, an informal economy that still largely escapes the state, and threats to the agricultural economy. However, for the professional group of miners in Ivory Coast, the state is trying to provide answers to these challenges, and the results will be visible in the coming years. The organization, which brings together the country's main manufacturers, believes that the focus should be on the sector's successes and not just on the damage caused by illegal gold mining.
Gold mining is a real problem, of course. Since it destroys the environment, the damage of gold panning is visible. But little is said about the industry's significant contribution to our communities today. Mining companies contribute to communities' development. 10 years ago, they did not even contribute 1% of the GDP. Today, 10 companies make a little over 2,000 billion CFA in turnover, which helps restore technical education. There is room to promote this sector more so that it is better known and understood and continues to contribute to the national economy.
Helping millions of clandestine gold miners become legal without depriving them of their source of income is not an easy task. These abundant gold resources and the instability in the Sahel region push more and more young people every day from the sub-region to come and dig the Ivorian soil in search of gold and a better future.